Welcome back to Film Snob HQ. We are now at the end of Phase 4 of the MCU, the end of the fifth era of the Marvel movies, what I am dubbing the COVID era or the Disney Plus era. They both kind of make sense. They're both kind of the same thing. You kind of know my feelings about this already, but let's break it down and talk about what Disney did and what Marvel did. Because Marvel had incredibly huge shoes to fill. They ended on a high. The MCU finished with Endgame and with Spider-Man Far From Home, which even though it's not my favorite Spider-Man film, it's still a perfectly good Spider-Man film. Fox is no longer in play. They fizzled out and got absorbed by Disney. So now it has been exclusively Sony and Disney Marvel. COVID obviously impacted the release of some films. Black Widow got delayed so many times that it eventually got released on Disney Plus for a premium price. You had to pay for it. And Shang-Chi and Eternals were released, I think, if I remember, only like weeks apart from each other or pretty close as well. And there was a plethora of shows. There were so many TV shows. Which was the hardest part for me. On their own, standalone, the shows are fantastic. I really like all of the shows, and I think I was pretty honest about that and pretty clear about that in my reviews. I enjoyed every show that I watched, whether they built towards something more or whether they were more of a standalone show. But when you're trying to binge watch this much content in preparation for Doomsday, it's a slog. I just did not look forward to any of the shows until I started watching, and then I enjoyed them. But I was just... It was a struggle for sure. We also got some short form content. We got some Marvel special presentations with the Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Christmas special, the holiday special, which was quite fun as well. And Sony, I'm trying to think. I think Sony only had 2 releases: Venom: Let There Be Carnage, if I remember correctly, and Morbius. So not a ton. I don't buy into the whole Marvel doesn't know what it's doing. Marvel is nowhere near as good as it used to be. I'm not buying into that. I think Marvel is still putting out strong content, especially going back and rewatching some of those earlier films. I loved everything in the first 4 eras and the first 3 phases. The MCU stuff is fantastic, but there's definitely stumbling blocks in every phase, and I enjoy them for what they are, but I know other people aren't as generous as me. I think what really hurt Marvel in this period was the sheer volume they put out in 2 years or 3 years. 2 years, from 2021 to 2022 inclusive, they put out 18 projects. If you take out the Sony stuff, it's still 16 projects. That is so much content in 2 years. It's too much. It wasn't necessarily superhero fatigue because I wasn't bored of it. I was during the time when I was in lockdown, I was glad to have new Marvel stuff out all the time. But now, in retrospect, where I'm out of lockdown and I have the freedom to watch things at my own pace, and I can go out to the movies and stuff again, it just feels like they're throwing so many things at me. It's overwhelming more than anything else. And I don't think it's misguided, but I think it was a huge mistake to end Phase 4 and Phase 5 with no team-up films. Although, I will say Phase 5 does kind of technically end on a team-up film, which we'll talk about when we get there. Phase 4, to me, was setting up 2 things. It was setting up New Avengers and Young Avengers. Or our Thunderbolts and our Young Avengers, I should say. We had all these young characters. We had the new Hawkeye, we had Miss Marvel, we had Kid Loki, we had Tommy and Billy Maximoff, we had... I'm missing someone. There's another girl in there. America Chavez. Fantastic. Why don't we team them up? Why don't we end Phase 4 with a team up of them? That would have been fun. Throw Spider-Man in there for an experienced character like cameo. That would have been great fun. We got Scar, at the end of She-Hulk, which I know a lot of people don't want to acknowledge, but we did get him. We could have put him in there if they wanted to. And Thunderbolts, I really think should have been Phase 4's Avengers movie. That should have been their big team up, because by the end of Phase 4, we've got the new Black Widow, we've got Red Guardian, we've got Taskmaster, we've got Ghost, we've got everyone who's in that Thunderbolts movie that came out in 2025, we've got them all. So just, why did we wait? None of them really appeared in anything in Phase 5, if I remember correctly, until Thunderbolts. And that's a lot of lost steam. So I think the biggest mistake of Phase 4 was oversaturation, too much content, and then not celebrating it or bringing it to a head. The first three phases all ended with an Avengers film. Phase 3 ended with two Avengers films. This one, I think the reason why people feel like there was no direction is that there was no culmination point. There was nothing kind of bringing it all together to wrap it up before launching into the next phase. We knew Kang was going to be the villain at the time, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is coming up, but we haven't had any big bad. There's been no villain kind of to work towards. And, you know, Loki wasn't really built up that much. Ultron certainly wasn't built up, because Ultron, if anything, felt rushed, but still worked. And Thanos was not built up as much as people will lead you to believe. He showed up in a couple of cameo appearances, but he's not in it a lot. But there was something to fight. And that's what I think feels the most difficult about this phase, is Wakanda Forever I love. But there was no kind of like, how does all this impact the universe? Oh, we'll come back to them later. That's what it feels like. That being said, it's a really strong phase. They were clearly trying to get as many different things as possible. They're trying to get younger heroes in, which is really important, because at the time, you know, in phase 1, Thor and Captain America, both actors are in their late 20s, early 30s. Black Widow's in her mid-20s. It's been 15 years or more. Like, they're all middle-aged now. We need some young heroes. We're bringing in some anti-heroes, some more villainous characters. I like that as well. We're expanding our world. We're dealing with the trauma of the snap and what happened to people who were left behind, and what happened to our lesser-known characters, what went on in those 5 years. I really like all of that as well. So there's definitely a lot of exciting things explored. Lots of new characters. Riri Williams, Ironheart, also introduced, could join Young Avengers. There's tons going on. There's just no final point. There's no focal point to bring it all together. So I don't think it's misguided. We missed that kind of like, and now we had to pay it off with a big celebration movie, and there was none of that, which is fine. But yeah, I like it. I had a good time with it. Phase 5 does calm down a little bit. There are far less projects. We have 3 more Sony films. We have Venom 3, we have Madam Web, and we have Kraven the Hunter. 2 out of 3 I really enjoy. One of them I enjoyed on opening night, but we'll see how we go. We have some Fox characters showing up. We have a new Deadpool movie coming out, officially in the MCU. The Fantastic Four at the beginning of Phase 6, we won't be talking about them yet. We do have the Thunderbolts, and we have less TV shows. Obviously, there are some TV shows I'm not talking about. I'm not doing What If. I wasn't doing the Netflix shows. I'm not doing I Am Groot, those sorts of ones. But the major shows I will be talking about. So we've got Echo coming up. We've got Loki Season 2. We've got Daredevil Born Again coming back as well. And some pretty interesting solo films. So I'm looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I really enjoyed it. I know I'm in the minority there, but I can't wait to watch that one again. We've got Captain America Brave New World. There's stuff that I'm forgetting because my brain's not working. I've recorded like 6 of these videos today. You might have noticed from my unchanging outfit. But I think Phase 4 is ultimately quite a good phase. It just needs something to tie it all together. But we are building towards Doomsday. It definitely feels like a darker universe. Post-Endgame, it feels like there's a lot of cleanup to be done. The world is not the same as it was, and we're doing a lot of rebuilding, and there are a lot more dark forces at play than there were before the snap. So that definitely feels tonally like a step in a different direction. Anyway, that is Phase 5 done. Phase 4 done. The 5th era done. We're now heading into, I don't know what I'm going to call this next era. It's the first era I don't have a name for. I'll figure it out. Between now and the wrap-up video, I'll come up with a name. But Phase 5 is about to begin. I guess the road to doom. The road to doom. We'll figure it out. Anyway, that's it. Next up is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.